What's up, everybody? Welcome to LimitLess Radiocast, episode 100. This music's being brought to you by our good friends Frankie Wahoo and Jay Stu. You can find them on SoundCloud. Hey, we made 100 shows. We're changing it up. New music, new images. We're coming at you for another 100, guys. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. This week, we're coming down with Mike Little. Just got his black belt not too long ago in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My man is a sneakerhead. We have a great time having organic conversation. So you guys throw those headphones on, turn that volume up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, this show is also being brought to you by some awesome sponsors. You got RollAmongUs.com, OldBonesTherapy.com, 28bands.com, BJJ Foundation, Lashley Nutrition, BattleBomb.com, Thomas Webb at Behoff Realtors, Dan Candry Law, Magic City Brewing Company.com, located in Akron, Ohio, MNHBeans.com, and Tax and Accounting LLC by Ronald E. Butler. Listen, guys, these sponsors have helped us tremendously to continue this show each and every week. We're reaching 18,000 people on just Reels alone. It is amazing what we are doing, and we're doing it all because of you. So please support our sponsors as much as they support us. Now enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope everyone out there is doing well. So today, Chad and I have the great opportunity to hang out with Mike Little. He has recently been promoted to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt. He's a sneakerhead, which him and Chad, I'm sure we'll get into some great conversations about this. He's been training for a very long time. Mike, it is so awesome to have you on the show. We thank you very much. It's an honor, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it. It's still weird being called a black belt. So
I was
goosebumps. I'm like, yeah, I'm a black belt.
It's awesome, man, and congratulations. Because I know, what was it? Just last month you got promoted, or was it a couple months? Or
Oh, okay. Yeah, like so the 22nd. So about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Nice, very cool, very cool. Hey, look, you know this as well as anybody else. You've been in this for a very long time, and it's hard, very hard. Jiu-jitsu is not easy. And when you get to that, like, you earned it. It's not like someone just was like, oh, here. It's not like you paid someone to get that belt on you. Like, you spent solid amount of years training, just like Chad and everyone else that has become a black belt. So mad props, dude. Chad told me, it's like, hey, I think he just got promoted not too long ago. I'm like, oh, that's awesome,
like, where is it? Like, no, it's it's black belt. It's a combination of things. It's skill set. It's maturity. It's growth, and life happens. It takes a long time to get a black belt, and
for sure.
And it's just not about the life or how long it takes. It's, your job can take you away from it. Your family can take you away from it. Family events.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just so much that could take you away from the mats. So it's to have that consistency. Well, it took me 15 years. So it still took me a little bit to get there.
Sure.
But I got there, and excited to see what the next 15 years has in store for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I tell people, just recently we were talking about this. I was talking about someone to the gym, and he's like, man, I haven't had an opportunity to get in here. And I said, hey, I haven't either. Like, I'm coaching my youngest son in baseball right now. I was never going to coach again. He asked me to coach. So it's taking a ton of time. Yeah. But I've sat back and go, you know what? This is the greatest time for me because I love coaching him. He's an amazing kid. He's an amazing athlete. And so I just look at that as a memory part. I'm like, yeah, it's taking me off the mat. I'm not getting to train as much, but this is huge for, that's a big deal. Like, hey, dad's there. Like, you asked me and I'm there and I'm doing it. So it's cool. It does stink though, because I do love being on the mat and being around my teammates. But like you said, life gets in the way. It's not like you can't go back,
You can go back. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions with really, any martial art. It's weird because I don't consider myself a martial artist. I did jiu-jitsu. I have nothing against some other martial arts, but it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. You can go once a year. The mats are going to be there for you, and it's your journey to decide what's necessary for you. But it's a fun place to be in yourself. Like, yeah. be with their kids. The mats will be there.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And that's something that it was hard for me, man. And I think Terry and I have talked about this. I don't know how much I've said publicly, but like I chose jujitsu over a lot of things when I shouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like I was that all in guy and this is what I'm doing. If the gym's open, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I wasted a lot of opportunities to hang out with my kids a little bit more when I could have not, like we said, the mats will be there. Jujitsu will be there. Your friends will be there. So I kind of learned that the hard way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's part of the. I know people. I think that's part of the journey.
Yeah,
I've sacrificed a lot.
Sure.
I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I attempted to have kids at one part of my life, but between my jobs and jujitsu, like I never made time for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
For me, I don't regret that by any means.
Mhm.
But I didn't have to learn that lesson, but I knew something had to do.
Sure. Right. And
No.
it falls in anything you're doing. It doesn't have to be just children. I mean, obviously, and which Chad is, I'm a late starter. I'm a blue belt under Chad, and I'm a late starter in terms of my journey, jujitsu, so on and so forth. And I was all in right away. And it's not that I'm not now mentally, but thank God I have an amazing coach and amazing teammates, because he has put it in my head. Like, listen, man, you don't have to be here all the time. Like, you don't have to live here and do this. Like, he is giving me that example. This is where he refers to us having that conversation. Like, I did that. I put that, like, go take your time, like, go be with your family. Go.
I mean, it's like anything we talk about. It's quality over quantity, right? The days that you do come in, make those your best days. Drill and hang out, or just be with your friends. I mean, I don't think we talk about that enough. Like, jiu-jitsu is awesome and learning it, but being with each other is even better. It's some of the best times I spend with my guys is on the way to and from tournaments when we're hanging out in the car and just talking,
Yeah. Very much.
I mean, I hit 40 this year, so I'm in a unique spot because I'm motivated, but I physically cannot train as hard as I want to.
Sure. Right.
It's impossible. I have torn shoulders. Chad, when you think about regrets, I never took care of my body.
Yeah.
When I came up, that's what you did. Oh, you're injured, get on the mat.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 40, which is, relatively young, if, for instance, the Indianapolis Open's coming up, I want to do that tournament, but, the level of training I want to put into that, like, I physically can't do at this point. Now, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do the tournament. I'm still going to train and give it my all, but it's because I didn't take care of myself.
Sure.
But, I'll get that. If I can still compete at 40, something's not too bad for me.
That's not bad. No.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, for sure. It is funny, the concept, like, this is a good segue into this. Has that conception changed, not just in jiu-jitsu, but I think in everything, if you're physically active? My wife and I were having a conversation about this. So runners will do this.
Yeah.
I ran long distance for 10 years and then I started jiu-jitsu. I quit running. But we'll run with ailments. Like, I've ran with a half torn meniscus. And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, it'll numb out. I had turf toe for a long time and it was like, I'm okay, no problem. And I think we've gotten smarter, or at least we've trying to teach the younger generation, like, listen, man, like, chill out. Like, you don't have to be on the mat. You don't have to go super hard all the time. Because of that, like what you're saying, Mike, like, my body hurts, man. Like, it hurts.
I think I started back in, I was 25 years old. So like 2000, 2008. I was, meathead out of college. I saw Anderson Silva submit Dan Henderson. I remember that day. I'm like, I have to learn this. I walk into the mat, like, I'm going to mop the floor with all these people. And, we would always put you with the, least experienced skinny person. And then they're tapping out, all of us, street fighter.
Sure.
That's when, I fell in love with it. And jiu-jitsu's changed the thing. You don't have to go in, get beat up by every single person. Granted, that's part of it. Yeah. But when I got purple belt, that was just, you got to take your lickings. I mean, you went in, you got wrecked by, at that time, purple belt was the big belt. You just got wrecked. But I think now, like I said, drilling and, training with a lot more intent versus just sparring really hard and hopefully get better. I hope that continues with our growth of our sport, like running, right? I mean,
yeah,
if you're
for sure.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this several times. The jiu-jitsu is progressed so much in the last, I've been doing it 19 years, But what we've learned more about jujitsu is how to take care of our people, right? I mean, we had to start treating it like a business too. Like, hey, man, I can't have all these people getting hurt. And I've told this story, like my first class ever, I got heel hooked. Nobody told me like, hey, this might, if it hurts, tap. You know, now I'm having that rundown with everybody that, hey, if you want to roll, this is what you need to look for. This is what you need to be careful of. So I think we've grown in that aspect a lot. And that's every sport, I'm sure, Terry, too. Like you said, running, where, you know,
yeah, right. It's gotten, we've gotten
everything is evolving. I mean, even if you look at pro sports, you know, I watch basketball a lot, and all these guys are taking time off and people are criticizing them, but man, it's hard on their body too. And it's hard to compare it to the, you know, like Jordan never took any time off, but that was, you know, that's a different person.
Yeah.
And it was, it's our era. If you think, like we talk about this, there's an era of generation where every major sport, if we watched it, someone played extremely sick, hurt, in pain, whatever our major sport was that we love to watch. I don't care what it is. You've seen like, man, that person's a real person. They got out there and they did it. And then it started changing. Then we're like, well, these people are soft. They can't even do this. And I'm going, at first I was like, yeah, I get it, man. Cause I'm with you, Chad, like Jordan's favorite player of all time type, you know, it's like, but I think that was grown in us. Like that was grown in us since we were little. Like we also were the kids that didn't wear seatbelts and sat in the back of cars and leaned forward, or, you know, we were jumping bikes off of whatever, or shooting guns at a super young age and by ourselves, like out, like doing whatever. Yeah. And that would, I have 3 kids. You're not doing that, knucklehead. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and so there is soft. I do believe that. I do believe we're in a soft society in terms of thought processes and stuff. But I also think there's a change in era of how we were growing, you know, and like, it was different for us and they changed that. They evolved it, you know, don't do that. Cause you still see kids that are nuts. And then you see kids that can get on the mat and you're like, oh yeah, that kid probably wrestled his entire life. His dad had him eating nails, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there are still kids out there that do that, but I think we just went through that. We're just through that generation change. Now, I hope it doesn't get any worse, because it does stink when you see that kind of stuff. Where,
what kind of kids are you rolling with? All the kids in my gym are beating the piss out of it. Y'all need to come down to like Kentucky or Cincinnati. Our kids are these country fed boys, or, you know, I think one of my favorite, I think, analogy someone said, like, you know, what's the difference between you, your mailman, and I would say, you know, Zuckerberg does.
Oh yeah, I just saw the photo. He just did a tournament too, by the way. Yeah.
What do we all have in common? We're getting beat by that 15-year-old stoner kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I tap to those kids quick. I don't care anymore. You have a black belt, fine. You take my
Yep.
You know.
I have we have a couple of kids that are young. They're actually in our local high school. They've gotten really good, but they're so like liquid, like they just kind of melt, and you're just like, oh, where are you going? Like what the, come on, man. Like I can control you with strength. Like I'm just going to get, you know, leg, lapel, whatever, hand, you know, sleeve type deal. And you're not going to go anywhere. My grip's way stronger than you. But if you start moving, like they're way all the way around me. And I'm like, it's awful. Like this kid's it's 18 years old. Like what's happening here?
But, you know, those kids, you know, it's since I've been in the heavyweight, super heavyweight, or ultra heavyweight pretty much in my entire journey. Obviously, you know, before I smoked meat and craft beer and all that, I was a little bit lighter than I am now. But you know, people say, like, you know, you're using too much strength. I'm like, I know, like, I'm okay with it. like don't use your speed and technique against me. I won't use my strength. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm okay with that to a certain extent. You know, as an ultra heavyweight, now that an ultra heavyweight black belt, there's definitely a certain way that I have to roll with people. Nobody wants to roll with the ultra heavyweight, so I can't use too much strength. But we're allowed to remind others, like we said, those kids. We're allowed to remind others, like, hey, you know, I got a little bit of strength. I know a little bit what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I can slow your speed down and end up with a heel hook or a wrist lock in any position.
Right.
I mean, that's what Chad's like. If you have to use strength, like use it smart. Like don't like slow them down type deal. And then, because, you know, like the kids that obviously progress in their upper belts, they know they can go and flow and roll and have a great time. Not that other ones do not, but you know this, Mike, like newer. It's I was there. Like it's like hold on for dear life. I'm gonna use everything I got to hold on to you and just try to lay on top of you because I don't know what I'm doing. You know, and every younger white belt they go super spazzy crazy, and then you're trying to just use your strength to slow them down. That's the fortunate part. Unlike Chad is like 10 legs later, coming out of nowhere, like a switchblade, and you're like, a what? Like you were on the bottom for like 1 second and now you've been on top and like this kid's like out. Like what happened here?
I mean, I don't think I've ever rolled with Chad. I mean, we've been in the jiu-jitsu community
Sure.
since I've been a white belt.
Yeah.
And, I know people I know that's roll with Chad. Chad's slippery. Chad's very slippery.
It's quite amazing.
That's a good term. I'll take
it.
It
is. Yeah. Uh-oh, new tattoo. that term could be thrown around loosely. So you and Chad, you guys kind of know each other from when? Tell me the story.
I don't even know. I mean, yeah.
So when Dustin Ware started the
OGC?
Yeah, the OGC. What is it now? Is it American Grappling Challenge?
It's back to the OG. It's back to the OGC.
Yeah. That was right when I started competing, and that was when nogi was the big thing, but not like the nogi of today. It was just like nogi without the gi on.
Right. Yeah.
Like we wrestled. We did more jiu-jitsu, and I'm not against leg locks by all means. I mean, I'd still tap a lot of people out with leg locks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Heavyweights don't always train their ankles. So if you see it, by all means. But I started competing at a lot of those tournaments right in like the mid to late 2000s. And Chad's been a staple in jiu-jitsu throughout that entire time. So you said you're going on 19 years, Chad. I'm going on 15.
Yeah.
Done all the tournaments. I've done all the ones in Ohio. I've done the Pan,
right.
done the Worlds. And a lot of our communities kept crossing. And I have a lot of roots in Northern Ohio. I went to Kent State University.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I work in Cleveland a lot from time to time. And when I was in college, Facebook came out to date myself. So I just
sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just like to date myself. I'm like, oh, I remember when that came out too.
Yeah, right. You needed a college. You needed a .email address. And then as other people we know started training at Chad's gym, since I have a lot of friends in Northern Ohio.
Yeah.
And then sneakers and so I think it's just going to happen organically over 10, 15 years.
That's very cool. Very awesome. And that's what makes this community so awesome. Like the connections. I think building that network of connections within the community is bigger than anyone can imagine until they're in it and they've done it and they're around for a while. And I've spoke many times of the show, and Chad knows how I feel about this. Like I never thought that I was going to have that. It's not what I expected. I didn't know what I was going to expect, but I walk away more gratified with the friendships and the networks that I've connected, especially with him bugging me to do a podcast. I'm just kidding. I say this all the time, but like you just don't understand you're going to have that, trying to get people into our community. It's like, you don't understand what you're going to get. It's just not about defending yourself or learning how to fight or just having a great time getting in shape or whatever have you. Like you're going to get something else out of it more than just that.
And Chad, I thank you a lot, but Chad coached me at one of my fight to win matches. It was a really good match, by the way. And that's the kind of stuff. I mean, that meant a lot to me because,
sure.
So anyone's ever done fight to win, that stage seems big. It's real small when you're up there.
Yeah.
Having somebody in your corner to be able to guide you through those situations. I caught myself looking up at the TV. I'm like, I'm on TV. This is fun. I had in the background like, dude, you got to move. It like that's the kind of things. I would have never known 15 years ago that Chad's going to help, coach a pay-per-view fight. That's what's crazy about jiu-jitsu. And like you said, the friendships, the people that you run into, they just hear, oh, you train, and you just have that, that instant connection.
Instantly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get that all the time. Like if I wear, East Coast stuff or whatever, like if it says Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like, oh, you train? You train? It's like, yeah, I do, man. Where'd you train?
Did we just become best friends? Like, yeah, we did.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. It's eye contact instantly.
And I thought that was competing as well. I've never been the person that gets fired up to like fight someone. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I get fired up to compete.
Sure.
But some of my closest friends that I still keep in contact now are people I've met through competition.
Nice. Yeah.
And I always tell people, without your competitor, you don't have anybody to test yourself against. So if you need to hype yourself up to hate someone that you're about to fight, like, I don't know. I want to think that's on you, but like there's got to be other ways to motivate you, especially in the we're not throwing fists,
Right.
It's a fight. Don't get me wrong. Especially ultra heavy, man. They get those grips on you.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to get them off. Yeah.
Yeah. The Jake, the yanking down, but and that's what means a lot to me. And I think that's, like you said, the friendships and wherever you make those friendships, whether it be in competition through shoes, it's a really nice community to be a part of. So.
You brought up shoes, so I'm just gonna go, Chad.
Yeah, my shoes are right there.
What is the community? What's the sneaker? I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know you. I love you already. I'm just gonna say this. What's the sneakerhead, if that's an okay term to call sneakerheads, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What's that community like?
I think there's a division. I think you have like, we're actually called old heads, like people like Chad and I, like those retros. Like, we like the retro Jordans.
Okay.
Wear our shoes. So like, like a lot of the shoes that come out, like I don't always buy the most popular shoes. And me and Chad will, text back and forth. Like he texts me like, there's an Adidas shoe coming out. Like, no, like kid in high school, is going to want to buy this Adidas shoe. I'm like, oh, I'm getting that.
I want it. Absolutely. Yeah.
You're gonna have to send me a picture, Chad, just
I'll
so
send
I can
you one.
see.
Yeah.
I just want to see it. I'm just curious.
But it's so I think you have your division. I think you have your older people who start to have a little bit of extra income that are able to kind of get those shoes.
That was me. When Chad was like, yeah, and I got a couple pair. Finally, I bought a pair. It's not a great pair of Jordans, but I bought a pair of Jordans, and then I have a pair of nice Air Force Ones. And I was like, wow, I never thought I would buy any shoes that were super expensive, but okay. My wife was like, yeah, go ahead. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it gets to the point, it's, I'm texting my wife because she, my office is upstairs and her office is upstairs. I'm texting her like, hey, you got to enter the shoe release. She's like, oh, there's no way in hell. Like, you're one more. Like, how many one mores? I'm like, about 20. But I think you got a lot of us like myself, like in Chad, like we just generally love sneakers. We came up with a very rich sneaker culture, especially, when you think about the influence of Jordan. I mean,
by far.
Jordan. And then now, I mean, people, I would say the kids, you have another generation right now. This is a full-time business.
Yeah.
People will buy hundreds of pairs, and if they could sell them for 15 to 20 more percent than what they bought them for, the resale market, that's a really big part of sneaker culture.
I was going to ask you, is the resale market pretty good, like on the regular?
It can be.
Or does it depend on what it is?
Yes and yes. I think as the economy's changed over the last like year or two, the sneaker resale market's gone down.
Okay.
But 5 years ago, I mean, I want to say kids, we're talking, little kids in high school are becoming millionaires. Start off with, max out a $10,000 credit card, and they turn that into 50,000, turns into 100.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, wow. I never would imagine that the world of sneakers was like that. And I've never, Chad, we've never had like a deep conversation about it outside of, hey, are these cool? Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I like, just like with any kind of like, I don't know, Pokemon cards or
yeah, sure.
My wife collects rocks, and she's like, I just traded this rock. I'm like, that's just like I do for sneakers. Like, worth $1,000. I'm like, did you pay for that? She's like, no, I'm not paying $1,000 for a sneaker. She's not paying $1,000 for a rock. I hope.
Not that you know of. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that t-shirt own, but I have like a lot of these original Jordan 1s right here, and I wear my shoes. So
nice.
Where I think that's a difference is people that generally enjoy being in the hobby to, I don't say like express, like I get to wear Jordan 1s. I remember in what is it? one of the Jordan movies. You know, he's dunking on the Mossers. I'm like, he's got the shiny shoes, so I had to buy those. Like,
Yeah.
Space Jam. So,
Space Jams, yeah.
Yeah, Space Jams.
Space Jams. I got the Concord ones. I got rid of my Space Jams. When I bought my house, I sold a lot of my sneakers.
Yeah.
I'm now just starting to get those back, like the ones that, you know, I kind of want it back. So
Yeah. I want a pair of Concords. I don't have any 11s, and that's one that I definitely want.
yeah,
I think.
I'll show you.
Terry, he makes me look like a rookie when it comes to sneakers.
So
No,
obviously,
this is the Concord.
yeah.
Oh, that's what they are. Okay, nice.
Like leather and
Yeah.
it's
So
a comfortable shoe.
So Jordan himself said that's his favorite sneaker he ever wore.
Really?
Yep.
So what is that? What
That's an 11,
what
Jordan
drop
11.
that? So that's Jordan 11. Okay.
Yeah, patent leather, carbon fiber plate.
Nice.
I absolutely love these.
So I think
Go ahead.
So besides ones, I think 11s might have the best colorways, like overall, right? With
I think
Concords, Breads, Space Jams, cool grays
Yeah.
you could throw in there, right? Like,
Yeah, I like the 11s. Since I'm a size 14, a lot of the 11s look like ski boots on me. So I want to get my Space Jams back.
yeah.
Like I had the cool gray 11s. Those look like a ski boot on me. But no, I think like this and the Space Jams, I mean, it's such a classic shoe.
It is. You can't. Yeah. Yeah.
So what brought you to, I mean, I know we talk old school era, but what was the sneaker, you know, what was the sneaker love? Was there something that was like, you know what, I just love, like they just look great?
So you man, my sneakers was right by my desk. So if I ever have trouble working one day, I just look at my sneaker collection on my own. This is actually not the Lost and Found. This is actually the Chicago one.
Oh wow, yeah.
I saw this and I don't know, like to me this is perfect.
It's one of my favorite, and I love the color scheme on it. I mean, I'm a red black person, so
yeah.
I don't know what it was. Jordan,
did you go see the movie yet?
I have not actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I need
Neither
to.
Chad or I have either.
Yeah.
So no spoilers here, guys. You can keep listening.
But when I asked what made me, like when I saw that shoe, and then when I saw the Jordan 11, I think especially with the marketing, anytime I had a Jordan, especially when I was younger, like I thought I was Michael Jordan. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And my parents did everything they could to get me, Jordans. I think growing up, I think I had like 2 pairs. And then once I got to the point where I can actually be able to buy those, I just feel like I'm being a kid again. And
Sure.
I think a lot of it definitely is the era we all grew up in, right? And that 80s, 90s, and shoes were big, man, after Jordan. And then everybody had their signature shoe. And I never, I had some Nikes back in high school. I never had any Jordans. And then I got really back into shoes when my kids got a little older and they started liking shoes. So that was my connection with my boys, was like, hey, at first they wanted their favorite color. And then it turned in like, hey, can I get them Kyries? I'm like, absolutely. We'll get you some Kyries, and it just went from there on. And then I started getting back into it. And my girlfriend Autumn helped. She's kind of into sneakers now too. So she helped me to get back into it. And it's fun, but I've gotten a lot pickier on what I like too after, like she got me the infrared 6s, and I wish I liked to wear them more. I don't think they're that comfortable.
They're not a comfortable shoe.
No, they're kind of hard to get on.
It's another, like when I say ski boot. Almost like a ski boot. That was actually my first pair of Jordans, was the Carbine 6s.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to get them, but like it's just, they're so uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I'm like, for me,
I wonder
now,
if younger generation kids, like if they don't care, they just wear them. They get them and just to get them because other people get them or whatever. And like for us, we're like, oh, that's uncomfortable. I'm not wearing that. You know what I mean? Like where kids are like, oh, I may not be able to feel my toes here soon,
but I don't think you're gonna
anyway.
I don't think you're gonna see kids wearing Jordan 6s either. They're gonna be wearing Yeezys or
that's what I mean. The era has changed too for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like my 9-year-old, he has a pair of LBJs, and they're the purple and gold ones, which that's his school, and he was super happy, and he was like, he wanted them. And my daughter's into my oldest son could care less, it's hilarious, but my daughter, who's the middle one, I can't even remember what they are. Chad, the Blazers, is that what they're called?
Oh, she wanted the Blazers.
She has a couple. Yeah, she has a couple pair of Blazers. And or she has one pair of Blazers and maybe a pair of Air Force Ones. I can't remember. You
Nice.
think I would know this as a father, but it's like, oh, you like cool shoes? Like, sweet. I was like, Chad's a sneakerhead, and I always ask him because he's my go-to. It's the only person I trust to ask because I don't know anyone else besides Jay Stu who likes sneakers.
Yeah, yeah. There's some rules. That's good because one of our guys at the gym, Tim Stinson, asked me. He's like, I want to get a pair of Jordans. I'm like, just stay away from mids, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
Right. Lows or highs are okay.
Those
So
are, I agree.
you know,
again, like being someone that's, being an ultra heavyweight, depending on if I'm competing or just the weather, like I could be anywhere from like 250 to 275.
mm-hmm.
I'm on the higher end, like my leg, and it just doesn't. It just looks,
yeah.
Like I need the whole shoe here, man. What's going on?
They try to pump up those mids with some cool colorways sometimes
to get them
to get people to like them,
yeah.
but it's just kind of a no. Yeah, most people don't like mids, but I'm like, for me now, it's Jordan 3s and Air Max 90s. Those are my two favorite shoes.
I was about to say same thing. Jordan 3s and Air Max 90s are by far my favorite shoes.
Yeah, very, very comfortable. I liked 4s because I think of the era I grew up in, like that was the 90s shoe to me, the Jordan 4.
100%.
The Breads, whatever he wore, but then I had a pair of 4s, and they're not comfortable.
I tried. I had almost every colorway, and I'm with you. That heel top on the 4, like it kept giving me blisters, and I have a scar on the bottom of my foot where I actually had to get stitches on.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's something about the 4, it hits right on the scar.
Yeah,
so I'm with you. I don't have any 4s. It's to me, it's probably like the second or third best looking shoe. To me, the Jordan 11.
Yeah, those are it for you.
These are going into these two shoes along with my pair of Kobe's I have. That's going into my casket.
Oh, you have you have a pair of Kobe's. Nice.
But when I think of like a silhouette, that Jordan 4 is just so classic. But
it is in the 5. I do have 2 pairs of 5s. I like 5s too.
Have you seen
5s? I don't know which 5s do you have. You have the off-white 5s, don't you?
Oh, yeah, buddy. Ow.
It's a lot to take in, huh, Terry?
No, I'm enjoying it. I was going to ask a very dumb question, and
go for it. It's not dumb. Like
the Air Max 90s, Chad. Those your orange and
the camo ones I have.
Okay, thank you. That's all. I was just like, I think I know what they are, but
I have the 2 pairs.
So I'm gonna ask.
I have the 2 pairs of the camo, the lime green and the orange.
Yeah,
and then I have the Air Max 90 Bacons as well.
Oh, that's right. You do have those. You told me that. Yeah, because Shane.
Those were like a shock drop too. They like re-released them once, and I got them somehow. So
I had those, and then I wore them out one day and had bad blisters, so I sent them back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I've been wearing the 90s. I've been wearing just the regular Air Max 1s.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But these are probably my 2 favorite. So Virgil, who used to be one of the creative directors over at Louis Vuitton, he bought Nike and he took like classic silhouettes.
Yeah.
See,
nice.
I love, like that is for me, like that's the classic, like what I remember as a child, like Jordan type, like even though Air Force One, obviously the ones, but that whole transition in between.
Look at that. Those are sweet. Yeah, I like those a lot.
And it comes with like this, it's meant to look like it's a sample like you got at Nike.
Yep.
You actually wear the tag. And it's funny because people ask, like, why do you still have the price tag on? It's fashion.
Yeah.
But Mike, do you wear a thing in your toe so they don't crease?
No, shoes are meant to be worn.
Yeah.
So, okay. Like I didn't know about this either. And Chad and I have a kind of a distant acquaintance, I'll just say it that way, Chad, that put these things in their foot, and they were telling me about it. And I asked Chad, and he was like, oh yeah, I don't wear those either. And I'm like, wait, people wear stuff in their toes so they don't crease? I'm like, what is happening? Like that was beyond anything that I ever thought was like.
Yeah, and I don't, and neither of Mike or myself, I don't want to go out and trash my shoes. If I get them dirty, I will clean them up a little bit, but they're still made to be worn, right? Like
this shoe, you can see the creases on this one.
Yeah. Now I
knew it's like $1,000 shoe.
And I think Jordan 1s more than any shoe look better the more worn and dirty it gets.
Those in Air Forces.
Air Forces, yeah. Yeah, once mine started getting broken in, then they felt better too. my Air Force Ones, because it was like they're a little snug at first and they were a little uncomfortable at first, and then now that the more that I've worn them, I'm like, oh, these are okay. These aren't bad.
I was a late bloomer to those. So my wife was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and we finally went to Puerto Rico over the holidays.
Oh, nice.
Nike made they make a Puerto Rico shoe every year. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
so I actually they made two different versions of the Air Force One. So I'm like, of course I'm wearing these in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Absolutely racked them in Puerto Rico, and I'm keeping them that way. Like I think that's so cool. Like I got a Puerto Rico Air Force One to, honor my wife where she came from. And I wore that shoe, got it. I mean, I walked. If you're going to Puerto Rico, you're going to walk a little bit.
Okay.
I just completely wrecked them, and I just think it's such a cool look.
Yeah.
And that's a memory too. It's like, hey, I have this shoe. I got to go there. I actually wore what represents. That's big, man. That's really cool. That's something you can't take away. Yeah.
Look how beat this one is, Mike. Look at this.
Oh yeah, I like. Look at see. Look how deep that one is, and look at the back of that. I can that heel. Like I know that shoe's been worn.
Yeah, so I got these. This is my first thing back into sneakerheads. I got them on Marketplace for $40.
I remember you texted me about that. You're like,
yeah,
like yes, buy.
Yeah, and Autumn and I went. It was late on a Sunday night, and it was not in a good area of Canton. Like she's like, should we do this? I'm like, I called like Jay Stu. I'm like, hey, I'm going this way. This is where I'm going to be. But yeah, I got them, and I mean, I don't even wear them anymore. The bottom is so soft, like But I mean, they're just beat up, and they were so comfortable though. But that got me back in.
It's yeah.
You think is that why they started redropping like old school versions, because the demand for them became like
and that's what, like, I'm sure Mike too, you want the OG release, like the Jordan 5s I have Nike Air on the back, not the Jumpman, right? Because the Jumpman is the newer release. So
I saw KD just signed a contract with Nike, like it's his first contract.
No, he's been with Nike. It's probably an extension.
Oh, maybe it is an extension. What'd you say, Mike?
He might have signed a lifetime contract.
You know what? That's what it was. I did not realize he was with Nike, but yes, I do remember. I didn't read the whole story. I just saw the headline. It's like KD signs lifetime. I think lifetime extension is what it was.
I think a lot of basketball players wear his shoes, but he doesn't have like a. I don't think
have
many
a signature shoe, right?
Well, he does. He has his own shoes, but I don't think any of sneakerheads are out there like, oh, I got to get the new KDs.
Not really. Like some of the old retro KDs, like KD4s, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Straps.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Those I don't have any of them. That was again
but
I never wore them.
No, there's a pink pair. Was it the Ant Pearl he used to have? Those were kind of cool.
Those are really cool. It's like
those are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the Kyries lose face after everything that happened with him and they dropped him and all that kind of stuff? I'm just curious.
Now probably, but the older ones will probably still,
be relevant.
Be all right, I would think. I mean, I don't think people flipped his shoe though. They weren't like a big money shoe. Maybe the SpongeBob's when he did that pack.
Yeah. Okay.
But he did what did he do early on? He had a lot of theme shoes. Was it Lucky Charms? Was there a Lucky Charms one?
There's the Lucky Charms one.
Yeah.
You're right. His were like a performance basketball shoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like even LeBron's, like early LeBron's collectible, but like the new LeBron, I don't know. Granted, the new LeBrons, I really do like those.
Yeah.
Because they kind of look like Kobe's, but it's a performance basketball shoe. So
yeah,
I don't know if they'll offer not, but I never wore them because I don't play basketball.
Sure.
Yeah. Definitely a difference.
This is fascinating to me, guys. I'm like a student in class right now asking all kinds of questions, which Chad knows I ask too many questions as it is.
No.
Why are the Yeezys so popular then?
Well, there's two versions of that because of Kanye.
Yeah.
Is that why? I mean, is that the big put?
Absolutely.
Is that the reason why? Okay. I didn't know this.
I sold all my Yeezys because the second when Kanye started being like really Kanye, I'm like,
sure, different fella.
I can't wear this person's shoe, but
sure,
so comfortable. Especially being a big footer, the Yeezy 350s. I literally thought I was walking on air.
Wow, really? So they are in generally just really, really comfy. Chad, you've never really had a pair, have you?
I've never had a pair. No, I've kind of, the only ones I really liked, I think, were them early Zebras. I like that look. That was kind of the ultimate, unless you can get a pair of Red Octobers, but that was when he was with Nike, Terry. He did a couple signatures. The Red Octobers, what was the other one, Mike? When they're a black pair that looked.
Yeah, there's the black one, and then you had the Red Octobers. Then you had the ones before that, like the Platinums.
Yeah,
had like the strap on it, like a very old school looking.
Yeah,
one.
But the Red Octobers are probably, what are they, 20 grand or more?
I think they're up there. I know they're at least 10.
Wow,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy
it's
moly.
like it's a definite unicorn in the sneaker world.
Okay. Wow.
But there's so many fakes out now. So if you see one, I mean, almost like I feel like unless you're like a professional athlete or like an OG sneakerhead, I feel like there's so many fakes out there. So
that's true.
Oh, is there? Is that a big problem? Like
becoming more, I think.
Is it becoming more like people creating fakes, or is it because, like I've seen obviously videos where people redo them, whatever. It's fascinating just to watch someone tear it apart and redo it.
Customization versus fakes or reps.
Way different.
Okay. For me, like, especially with the resellers driving them up, shoes, unless you get them on drops, they're not going to be affordable. Like all the Travis Scott releases. So I know people that wear reps or fakes, and
okay.
I don't, because I don't collect sneakers for status. I collect sneakers that
sure.
But hey, if you really like that shoe and you don't feel like spending $1,000 on it, if you want to go on eBay and spend $100 on it, go for it. I don't care personally.
Sure. Yeah. And it's not you either. Like, it's your shoe. Like, what you're getting, when you're going to buy something, what you want, what you're going to get, which makes sense. You know what I mean? Like at this age, it's kind of like, yeah, we're going to pick out what you want and what you're actually going to wear versus just getting something for a status symbol. Like, that's over for me too. Like, I don't care about status.
Exactly. I mean, I work from home. Like, the only time I leave the house is to go to jiu-jitsu or go to party or maybe to the gym. Like, so I don't need all the status on my feet,
Yeah.
Sound like me.
I'd say that's a big thing. I think that's a big thing too, is how you, like we've said, how you feel wearing those shoes too. And when you go out and somebody compliments you on your shoes, that's what got my girlfriend Autumn hooked. She got a pair of the Nike Ambushes. You remember those when those came out? And now she still has them. She don't like them as much, but that was the first shoe she wore out and somebody complimented her. And I'm like, that feels good, doesn't it? When somebody really notices your shoes.
It was funny. I think one of the most intimidating people in jiu-jitsu is like Lucas, Barboza, Hawk. I remember watching him warm up in the pants, and he had zebras on.
Yeah,
that guy's a badass. Like he's a world champion. And it's funny. I know you've had JT at your place.
Yeah,
that's where I kind of, I almost say became friends with JT, but like we stayed in contact through shoes. And
yeah,
I'm not going to the seminar. We're looking at each other like, what you get on today, and that's even that, like, JT's like, one of the best ever, and to ever touch a match. But his sneaker game's not bad.
No, and the other guy that I talked to, we had for a seminar too, was Gutenberg. You remember Gutenberg?
Oh,
yeah. He was coaching at ADCC one year with a pair of Jordan 1s on in the chair. So that was a big, when I met him, that was a big conversation.
I was going to ask you guys, like, over your time that's been in jiu-jitsu, is there a lot of sneakerheads in jiu-jitsu?
I think so.
Like, more than you would suspect, maybe coming in, like, not knowing. Like, I didn't know this. I've picked it up, obviously, over talking to Chad and seeing people and seeing these pictures.
Yeah.
And
the other a big one we had on, Terry, was Shane Hill Taylor. Yeah,
Jamil.
Yeah, Jamil. Yeah,
that was a big one. And then Rolando Sampson, like, I met him through a beer group actually randomly. And I know he's a big sneakerhead. So
they're out there.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always, when I'm looking at, the IBJJF pictures, I don't care about the medals. Like,
you're looking at what they're wearing.
You're good. Like, I want to see what you have on your feet,
Yeah.
So awesome. You got your flip-flops on, or
yeah,
right, or you got some shoes on. You got some sweet looking shoes on. What are those? Turn to the left. Turn to the left. I can't see it right. That's awesome. That's good, man. Like, I love that because you get older, you don't have sometimes you don't have different hobbies, or a hobby that maybe you didn't think about so much when you were a kid. Like, you like something and then you get to come back to it when you are more established and you're, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, hey, I'm gonna get those pair of shoes. That I remember the Bo Jacksons, like the cross trainers being super popular.
I still want a pair of those.
After I started looking, that's one pair that I've always kind of had on the bucket list. I'm like, man, I'd love to have one, because I never got a pair. My friends had them, and I didn't have a lot of money.
I would think those would be decently inexpensive. I would think.
So they released a few pairs over the last year or two. So
yeah,
let's connect offline here. I think you can probably get one. When I say reasonable, I still think $300 is still like a ton of money for shoes.
Sure. Yeah, but it's something that you want, and you
got to get that. You got to get that original colorway too.
Yeah. And it brings so back that, like, man, I remember when those were like, seeing my one buddy running, and I was like, he has the bows.
He looks faster.
He has the bows. He's running across the parking lot complex that we all lived in. I was like, what? Yeah. Then he came running to me.
It's back circle. Talk about like hard ass people. Like, that was what I want to grow up to be. I want to be, I want to play football with a dislocated hip and still like, we don't do that anymore.
That's why I said, like, that era, we grew up in that era of wipe it off, rub dirt in it, go back out there. You're fine. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, and even I still have that mentality for myself. I try not to, but then when I'm telling my kids, I'm like, you can't do that. Like, you're going to die. Like, and here I was, I'm like, I was pretty much almost dead at certain times doing stupid stuff.
You ever see this clips on it's about like, would jiu-jitsu be useful in a street fight? And then it's an older guy, like someone gets up, next thing you know, like the jiu-jitsu guy's stretching.
Yeah.
They're like doing warm-ups. Like, that's me now. Like, I have to do all that just to be able to move. Like, so
I enjoy warm-ups. Chad's always like, line up. And some people are like, here we go. And I'm the one person in my head, I'm like, thank God, because if he didn't do this, I'm not moving. Like, I would be like, oh, that's train for 20 minutes and let me get warmed up. Oh, let's roll now. You know what I mean? Type deal. So
yeah, I don't do typical warm-ups though. I mean, I've we all grew up in jiu-jitsu, but me and Mike doing the calisthenics and the jogging around the building, like, I don't do, like, we're doing jiu-jitsu movements to warm up now. I'm not doing all that crazy stuff.
It's such a cop out to make people run around the building. Or I get it. If you have a beginner's class, like, you need to learn basic movements. You need to be able to shrimp.
Sure.
You need to be able to strip to your feet. Maybe a backward roll. I've never done a frontward roll in jiu-jitsu.
Me neither.
I've never done cartwheels in jiu-jitsu. I know, like, just people out there. To me, it's such a cop out. Like, I'd rather drill for 20 minutes versus make my students run around the mat, and every time I see people doing it, like, the coaches are on their phones, and like, teach your students, like, it drives me nuts.
And even when, like, we used to do it, and I've been other places that do it, they only run one direction, right? It's never, hey, let's turn around, let's go back the other way. It's it's come along.
Drill, get that sweat on, especially if you can able to incorporate your drills into possibly some of the movements you're learning that day.
Yep.
Yeah. It just makes sense. You're getting mind and your body in the right place.
So, that's what I love about how we do it. And I always have, like, I mean, I'm older, I'm a heavier person. Like, I'll get a little sweat on, and then I'm like, all right, sweet. Then we jump into technique for, 35, 40 minutes, whatever. And then roll for, 25, 30 minutes or whatever. So, it's like, okay, I love this. Like, this is great. Not that I didn't before, but it's definitely made me feel better.
Because you have a class, let's say, if you're, I know a lot of classes are broken between an hour to an hour and a half. You got your 15 minutes and, jogging around, then you take your break. And the next thing you know, you got like 20 minutes for technique. Whereas if you're truly coaching, the second, you're starting, you should be coaching from the beginning.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not the drills. I mean, any good person out there, like, they should probably drill a little bit. And especially if you're doing the traditional style class where you're just running around the mat, stripping up and down, doing your frontward rolls, take a break, do 15 minutes of technique. Unless it's a beginner's class, you're probably teaching an advanced technique, and you're not getting like that movement and really building in that body, the body movement, the muscle
memory. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I still warm up with everyone. I still drill with everyone. That'd be me, like you. Like, I have to do that, or else I won't be able to roll. So
it takes longer, right?
Like, that's jump right in. teach your students. You charge them a lot of money for them to be with you.
Yeah, for sure.
You get there to the second they get off the mat. So,
do you guys do both no gi and gi?
I do.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I like gi because of my grades.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I'm with you. Yeah, me too. I mean, obviously, we're mostly gi school. We are a gi school. I won't say mostly. We are a gi school, but I am with you too because I have really good grips and I have very strong fingers, so I can get good grips. And I'm like, yes, except when I'm rolling with Chad, he's like, yeah, that grip's not gonna do anything.
Well, yeah, and it's weird because even myself, I'm like, black belt grips are just different.
Sure.
Especially like even and I'll be trying to have a kid as a black belt, but in the last couple of tournaments I've done a brown belt. When they grab you and you go to like shuck it, you do every direction. You're like, okay, this is where I live now.
right.
I don't get that. I want to say that scared. I don't get that sensation in no-gi. I've never had somebody grab me to where I'm like, oh, like I'm scared,
Right.
Like, yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody listening, like, oh, I'll grab you and make you scared. I'm sure.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There's still always going to be someone.
I train no-gi. We have there's a father and son at our school. They started training together for the son, like outside of wrestling.
Okay.
Now they're both 2-stripe black belts. So they're
wow, nice.
The son is 26 and the father is about to turn 50.
Wow, that's so awesome.
So I changed academies about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And that's especially this late in the journey. Like that was really hard to do.
Yeah.
And Luke and Ben, the father and the son, they really took me underneath their wing. And we have a couple other coaches. But like when it comes to no-gi, their no-gi is just on a different level. So I'll train no-gi on Saturdays, actually. That's my time to really pick, Ben and Luke's brain and do a lot of these traditional and non-traditional techniques.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really neat about my school, bringing things full circle, somebody who I fought at the Chicago Open in purple belt, he moved to Cincinnati from Iowa, and he's the one that got me to come up there. So again,
wow.
they're friends with. He's like,
yeah.
Hey, it was after my last fight to win pro match in Chicago. When I look back at the match, I just wasn't having fun. And Range sent me a text. He's like, come up and train. That's all it was.
Nice.
And then our head coach, he's a really solid technical gi guy. So we have a real good variety of coaches. I try 40 minutes to jiu-jitsu now. I passed 4 or 5 schools on the way to jiu-jitsu, and all the schools that I passed are all great, great academies. It's just I found a school with Luke and Ben and my buddy Grant, who's going to be leaving. Actually, Grant might have been, he wasn't an East Coast guy, was he? No. I thought for a second he might have been an East Coast guy, Chad.
Oh, gotcha.
But no, and then our head instructor, I'm just calling him coach, right? Our head instructor, we got a nice little group up there, and it's worth the 40-minute drive. I'd rather the hour and a half to and from, like 3 or 4 times. I caught myself like at the schools that I lived a little closer to. I was just going through the motions. I wasn't learning anything.
Sure.
And when I think of what I expect out of a black belt, because I was a brown belt for 6 years.
Yeah.
I wasn't even living up to my own expectations.
Sure.
And I think jiu-jitsu is such an amazing thing, and it should be fun. If it's not fun, I'm not saying go to a different academy, but look to find out what's going to make it fun. And to me, traveling to my new school, even though my new school, it does a lot more no-gi than I like, and I'll tell them that, but I like to have the both. That's a roundabout way of saying it. I like to still be able to move without being gripped. I still like to make sure that I'm able to work on explosive movements, hip switching and stuff like that. Sometimes that's really hard in a gi. With my no gis, I'm doing a lot of hip switch passing and really trying to work on controlling slippery people's hips. I can do that no gi. It makes the gi passing a little bit easier.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I do like gi more, but no gi is definitely necessary, right? And I think it does help your control, holding somebody down that is slippery and they don't have the gi on, making, if you can hold them in side control a little bit longer or keep the back control or whatever that is, it's going to help you. And, as a coach, yeah, I'm trying to get into the leg game a little bit. Again, I don't like it that much. I think, at least for me, I don't know about you, Mike, but when I came up in jiu-jitsu in the 2004, I started, it was kind of people didn't like it. They thought it was disrespectful if you foot locked them. It's like, no, pass my guard like a man, right? Don't just foot lock me. But I heard that a lot. And I still believe that a little bit. Like, I think if you dive too deep, it stunts the growth of the rest of your jujitsu too, because it's like, you don't work on your passing, I'll just foot lock you. So we got to find that happy medium.
I typically don't footlock from top. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, Chad. Like when I
Yeah.
started in 2008, a couple of years after, who was like the pioneer of footlocks? Was it Lister?
I mean, Lister was big. Yeah.
I meant like not the pioneer, but I feel like,
Yeah.
But yeah, like a big person in it. Like,
Yeah.
when Lister had one of his run at the ADCC, you started hearing more about footlocks.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of Joe Bays.
Yeah.
And luckily, he was under the same affiliation as I was at one point. And it's funny because you see someone like Joe. The first time I met Joe was at a tournament, and he had a Joe Bays shirt on. I'm like, oh my God, you're like, Joe Bays? It's like, that's me. I'm like, there's no way. Like this, and he's a footlock master. I don't say master, but he footlocked his way to the ADCC in 2010.
Yeah.
At that time, there wasn't a lot of black belts even in our area.
Yeah.
I don't know if Joe was a black belt at that point, but I want to say people from our area, people from Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, they weren't making it to the ADCC.
No.
Now we have like Dante.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
Now we have a lot more now. But I'm with you, Chad. I don't like to pass and dive for a footlock from the top. I like to start a lot of my footlocks from knee shield or half guard, just like scissor sweeps.
Yeah.
If I get weight moving, if you're going to counteract the movement, chances are you're going to use your legs to do that. So if I get you moving one way, especially a heavyweight, they're going to have to be just as hard to get back. Then I'm able to get. If I don't get like the toe hold, I can get up on a sweep.
Right. Yeah.
But
So lots to learn, man. Like I said,
I'm talking like this is normal, but yes, I agree.
It is normal for you and Chad. That's why I love it, because I'm like,
well, and I have a lot of guys doing. I have a lot of guys doing some, bigger no-gi invites or whatever, and it's all rules. I mean, no matter what rank you are now, right? It's like everything's legal. So even if you're not the leg locker, you still need to deep dive into the defense, right? You need to learn the offense to learn the defense a little bit, because in a heel hook, if I turn the wrong way, man, or if I try to roll out, I'm gonna do more damage to myself than not,
And then likewise, especially when you're going for the footlocks, if you don't hide your other foot,
yeah,
chances are, it's physics. What the energy I'm putting at you, you're going to put just right back at me, if not even further, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to footlock you really hard, and it's just leaving that over there.
Yeah.
At least being able to attack it to either get out of the situation or to advance to a different position.
Well, we had we did Jay Stu did that match last year, about a year ago, and it was a twisted church. It was one of the first twisted church events. And Jay's not a leg locker, but the guy tried to heel hook him and left his foot, and Jay's like, all right, I'll just heel hook you. Right. So it's like that whole, you're gonna do it to me, I'm gonna do it to you back.
I've done one no-gi tournament since white belt. It was right when I got my brown belt. And the guy, he hustled me. He was sitting there like he was getting pumped up, beating on his chest. I'm like, okay, like that's my style of jiu-jitsu. Let's grind,
Yeah.
And he was like faking shot. 30 seconds later, we slapped hands. He pulls guard, heel hook. Like, oh, this is what jiu-jitsu is now.
Yeah. Like instantly.
Of course, I'm staying friends with him. Joe Watson out of Tennessee. He almost made the ADCC last year. I think he made it to like the round of 16 in the East Coast trials.
Okay.
Wow, nice.
He's a Baraka guy, really good, but I was ready to go, like a real physical match. But no, he's smart. He does jiu-jitsu, and
I noticed now. You watch the ADCC matches, like it's like, club, snap down. And then if they get to the ground, it's either stand the entire time, see who can push each other all over the mat, or go right to the ground, pull, once they can pull guard.
Yeah, I mean, it turns into, who has the better footlock defense. Because you look at Giancarlo. He's not really a footlocker, but his defense is on point,
Same as Nicky Rod. I mean,
yeah, same
I know
thing.
Nicky Rod kind of got hooked in the final against, Gordon, but I mean,
and that was almost like a standing heel hook too. Like he dropped down to his leg from kind of just down on it when Nicky was up, and it was like, oh well, I don't know how you even defend that. Like he just kind of went right to it, like instantly from almost a stand-up position. It was like, oh, okay.
I don't remember him heel hooked before that though. So he has
Nicky keeps his feet back. I mean, he plays from those knees too. Like
I was gonna say, it's because he doesn't stand up and pass.
He doesn't stand up at all. Like he really plays from those knees and reaches those arms in and he will stand up once he can get those arms in, if he can lock those legs, which is nothing wrong with it. I see his approach to it. His approach is like, I'm keeping my legs away from you because I know your game. Like I know what you're going to do. So he tries to use that strength, to get
and that's tough because that can lead to boring jujitsu too. It's just one guy on his knees and the other guy. Yeah. Anyway, that's for me. I think there should be shorter time periods versus longer, right? Like I love jujitsu. Terry and I talk about this. I don't want to watch a 20-minute match,
right?
Especially in no-gi, it's going to be so sweaty. You're not going to be able to hold on to anybody. But
I get tired after 6 minutes. Like so like, and that's why, and honestly, like that's what I like about the Masters matches.
Yeah,
I think our matches are 5-6 minutes. I think
I think it's 5. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now that we're getting old, now that the Masters 2 and almost 3, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Mike's like, yes, you just cut a minute off.
Yeah,
but, good to go.
No, like there's a lot of people that agree. Us old people, man, we like to slap hands and we go. You don't see a lot of stalling in a lot of the Masters matches.
Right.
They're not as exciting the last 2 minutes, but I mean, if you look at a black belt match, unless you're, I don't know, like Tannen Dalper right now, like
yeah, he's so good.
Cross on him right now.
Yeah,
his matches, he goes and goes.
Yeah,
but like I still feel like there's a lot of back and forth, touching, filling each other out, and then the last 5 minutes are go.
Right.
I still feel like Marigali goes like hard right away, but 5 minutes. None of this Philly out stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he's been obviously, Chad, I'm sorry, but
no.
He's like big, Marighelli's been like, hey, Guy, let's get this going. That's, we don't need these long matches. Let's do this. He's been really a big advocate lately. Not that he wasn't before, but it's been more pronounced and more out there. So that I think that's awesome because Chad.
I think it really comes down to the grappler.
Yeah.
Right. If you watch Tynan, we haven't seen him in no-gi yet. He's been, hinting about doing a who's number one in no-gi, but I'm sure his no-gi is just the same. If you watch the Rotullo brothers, they're exciting. Mika Galvao. So it really does come down to their style, right? Gi or no-gi can be exciting depending on you and the rules too. I mean, the rules can. Did
either one of you guys get to see the Thai Friday? I didn't watch any of it. Did you, Mike?
No,
okay. I know he won. Him and Mikey both won. And I saw a clip of Mikey like, oof. Like he had that, I don't know, but Mikey lock or whatever.
The Mikey lock, yeah. Those guys are just, their jiu-jitsu is so far ahead of anybody they're putting against them at one so far, I feel.
When you see it, the clips, you're just like why did you even get in the ring with this guy? Like, really? Like, obviously a paycheck was there, win or lose. I didn't care. You know what I mean? Because that's how you look at it. I mean, for me anyway.
Especially like someone like Mikey, he's the greatest American grappler of all time. Like
he's so good.
You can't even, there's nobody that can, titles alone, how many gi titles? 4?
I think so.
Already. Yeah.
In two weight classes, right?
In two weight classes. Yeah.
I mean, you think about that, like, you think of Lovato, JT, Dante's starting, to rack up a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Still, like, he's just up here and he's just making it look easy. And he puts a lot of pressure on himself. And I know he talks a lot about his mental health, and that's something I relate to. And which I want to say I have, like, I have mental illness, and I like the fact that someone like Mikey can say, oh yeah, like these last 2 months were dark. I was going through depression. I showed up to the match. I don't even know how I made it here, but look, I trained this hard and look at these results. So someone like Mike, he's a really good role model for a lot of people.
He's genuine too. Not that others aren't, but he shows it. Like he shows his genuineness. He shows his honor. He's very thankful for the match and for whatever it is. He, to people, it's not. You can tell. Like a lot of people like that struggle with things. We see that. Like we feel. Yeah. We want to give that to people. We want to be like, hey, we're thank you. Like, you know what I mean? And that's you don't always get to see that in our community or our world. It can be very brash at times or egotistical at times, still, even to this day. But yeah, I like Mikey a lot for that. That's a big thing. Like when I first got into it and started seeing him, it's like, who's this small little guy, man? And he's like super good. And then I'm like, holy crap, his IQ is gigantic. Like he has a huge IQ
he's
for
so
this.
Smart. Yeah.
Very smart. I really impressed with what jiu-jitsu is today. And American versus Brazilian, jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu.
Sure, right.
Whatever. But like Tynan, Matola brothers, Mikey, they're fun. I think they're really good stewards.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Out, he did something stupid. He'll be back.
Right.
All those guys down in Manaus. I don't know how to say it. Down in Brazil.
With like Baby Shark and
Baby Shark and those guys. Yeah.
Those guys. Yeah. That whole team, his dad, like the one kid's dad, who is
Mika. Mika's dad.
got out. Yeah. His dad, like that whole crew, like they're
jiu-jitsu is fun and exciting. And it's cool to like that we're a part of that. It's if we saw, make a give out on the street, I probably wouldn't talk to him, kind of be fanboying. Like, who's this old guy? Like, so
yeah. The difference is, as Chad has said many times, how many times in our community can you sit down with the Michael Jordan? We can actually do that. In our podcast, we've sat down with some of the best of all, and you can't do that. Like, I can't call up LeBron and be like, hey man, like we have a basketball podcast. You want to come and hang on? Like, and talk about basketball? No, dude, I don't even know who you are. Like, no, I wouldn't even get a response.
You
wouldn't
get anything.
Like Jamil, like, I know he had a couple of injuries, but like he can be the greatest of all time. Like,
yeah,
he can easily. I mean, he should be a 2-time world champion. I still think he'd be Cambrino. I will wear that on my chest. I feel like he got screwed over in that match, but now we're there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu, and especially it's accessible to us now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Budo Videos is back now. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, what is this?
Budo Videos. It was
Flow Grappling. Flow Grappling could ever dream of being Flow Grappling.
Yeah.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where you bought skis there, t-shirts through that. I mean,
VHSs, videos. And they would do a rolled up series where they would actually go and check out like different academies, and they put a lot of spotlights, in Guam and stuff like that.
That's where I got the idea, Terry, because I told Terry we need to do a video series called Limitless Travels, and we'll just go to other gyms. But that's where I got that idea, was from Budo Videos.
Oh, wow, no kidding. I did not know this. I knew about the other stuff, but I didn't know the Budo Videos.
Yeah.
Budo? Is it called Budo?
They're back.
Yeah.
It's fun because a lot of us were white belts watching him. Like, and there's so many people that are so excited that he's back. And like, we're all black belts now. And it's like, I feel like that's part of our journey.
Yeah.
It's like part of you guys. part of
I actually reached out to him to do the podcast months ago, and I never got a response. I'll have to try again.
Hopefully. Maybe he's busy making the rolled up videos. Who knows?
That's it. Maybe.
Yeah. Very cool. You said, what's his name getting kind of shafted there. I just saw Elizabeth Clay. It looks like.
Oh yeah.
So and I didn't understand what happened. So she posted the clip, and it showed. I thought they raised her hand. So they raised her hand and then changed it and brought him back on the mat and raised the other girl's hand.
So supposedly she didn't have they had the advantages wrong, right? Is the way I understood it.
I didn't look into it.
You didn't see it, Mike? Okay.
Obviously, though, Elizabeth Clay is such a badass. Like,
I felt terrible just reading her post and like watching the video, and I was like, man, this young lady has trained so hard, and you get your arm raised to go to the championship match the next day, and then 5 minutes later you're pulled back on the mat and it says, oh, we're taking a point away from here, they have the advantages, blah blah blah, and now you're not. And it's like, how do you do that? Like, this is going to open up a hole probably for this to happen all the time in IBJJF. Like, could people protest? Could it, like, what's this do, for the future of that?
I don't know. I think I don't know who protested, because the center ref they wear earpieces, I think, at a lot of the big tournaments now. So other people are talking to them, table workers, whatever.
Oh, okay.
So that's who he was going off of. I don't think it was a coach or anybody that protested anything.
It was just refs in general, like
refs in general had it. They had something mixed up. Sure. But man, I think when
job, as Chad says,
I will never. I refed one of Dion Thompson's tournaments once, and I'll never do it again. I'll never ref again. It wasn't because of his turn. Any tournament, I'm not doing it.
Sure,
I'm not doing a tournament again. Actually, Dante. I don't even know if Dante knows who I am. But I was reffing one of the higher grappling challenges. Is him and Gutenberg go to one of their guys in like a finals match. That's a lot for a purple belt to feel that.
Yeah.
The entire time I'm getting nervous. I'm blowing calls left and right. I'm just like, I start listening to Dante and Gutenberg, and like then I'm like making more wrong calls. That was the last match I'm ever reffing.
Yep.
It's terrible not doing this.
I cannot do that. No. So yeah, Dante Leon's the reason I don't ref jiu-jitsu. Who the hell's him? I remember
that's awesome.
That very clean.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I still root for him.
He's such a good dude. He's a nice dude.
Who, Dante?
Dante is such a nice guy. I mean, I saw that, and Mike too. We saw that kid. He come up I remember seeing him like as a yellow belt or an orange belt, just like wrecking kids, and then going into the adult division at that age, and kind of got to know him through local tournaments and talk to him. But he was always cool enough. I'd see him at the Chicago Open. He would come to me and say hi, shake my hand.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Such a down to earth dude.
I think it shows you like I was a blue belt with him.
Yeah.
Due to our weight differences, but I was like, because that's when I was still competing in adult. Nobody wanted to compete against him. He was scary.
Scary.
Still is.
And that was 10 years ago. I think I got my blue belt in 2011.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dante then, he was just like, he was a chainsaw. He was a boss saw going through people.
Yep.
And squatting like what I see is like squat videos now. I'm like,
yeah, he does some crazy workouts, man.
His wrestle up series that he's doing. No, Dante's he's
how old is he now? Is he 20 something? 20?
I would say mid-20s if I had to guess, right?
25, 26 maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
He was beating adults. I felt like he was like 13 and 14 trying to beating adults at the Ohio grappling challenges.
Oh wow.
Handed it.
Right.
Yep.
What John Donaher's new prodigy, that young girl, she's what, 16, 17, I can't remember. Helena.
Oh, she just joined his team though. She was somewhere else.
Yeah, she was somewhere else, and they moved to Texas or whatever, but she's like going against adults and destroying them. But she's a big leg locker too, though, obviously. But anyway. Well, Mike, we've kept you for over an hour, my friend. It goes pretty quick, doesn't it? Hey, what's your favorite beer? Because I know you like to make beer.
I do like to make beer. There's so much good beer out there that I try to make things that you can't find. So I like to use.
Nice. Okay.
So like savory flavors. So my favorite beer that I've ever made was a cucumber, basil, key lime Berliner Weiss, which is kind of crazy.
Sounds like a dinner on a plate or something.
Yeah, but like some sourness and like some of the fun. I do a lot with like peppers. Okay. So I'll smoke some jalapenos, and I'll make like smoke beer out of that. I'm able to kind of control like the tartness and how much spice I want in it. So those two beers are my favorite to make. If I could have a beer every day, I'm an IPA guy. Like I have a hot test.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Stouts. The thicker the better. Like I can drink a barrel age, 15% stout every day of the month.
Nice.
And I do.
Nice.
That's why I'm ultra heavy, no longer a
Chad and I have a really good teammate that owns a brewery in Akron, Ohio, called Magic City Brewing.
Yeah,
And
I've heard of Magic City.
Jay Graham, really good dude, great teammate, good friend. And that's why I was like, oh, I saw on Instagram. I'm like, I gotta ask Mike about his beer. And like
Oh man,
Jay said, I never asked Jay that, Chad, either, like what his favorite is. But
Oh yeah, I don't know.
I didn't even ask him. We had him on the show and I never asked him. But anyway,
it's hard. It's depending. I mean, I will drink a stout every day of the week. I could drink an IPA every day of the week, but those kind of get you feeling really good really quick. So if you're looking for more, I like a good Pilsner. It's a hard style to make. If people mess up a Pilsner, you can taste it. So if I can find a good Pilsner, I'll drink that as well.
Nice. Very cool. Frisbee golf is behind you, hanging on the wall. You use those things?
I do, actually.
Okay. I didn't know if you use those or those were like mementos for like disc and hole one or whatever it's called.
I had to find something to do throughout the pandemic. I had one training partner I would train with in his basement. He's the only person who I trained with. So I picked up Frisbee golf, disc golf. And then randomly, do you know there's actual professional disc golf?
I have heard this, yes. Like they travel and everything, don't they?
Yeah. So there's a really good tournament here about 20 minutes south of where I'm at. And just like with me, like go all in. So now like I'm like one of the volunteers that helps with the scoring at the tournament.
Oh, nice.
So I met a lot of those people. Those are actually their disc that I met working the tournament.
Okay.
Cool.
Like they're Michael Jordan golf, like 5 people make a lot of money. Just kind of like jiu-jitsu, like 5 to 10 people make money. But they're making millions and they can throw a disc farther than I can hit a golf ball. Seriously.
Man.
They're throwing a disc 600-700 feet. I mean, if you hit a golf ball 200 yards, people can throw a Frisbee that far now.
Nice,
man.
Nice. That's crazy that it's kind of like, I love that it's grown. I mean, it's kind of like jujitsu in terms of like the growth of it, and it's become a big sport for people to get outside, to get motivated, to see nature, to all that kind of stuff. That's very cool, man. That's when I saw, obviously it looked, I don't know anything about you, so yeah.
I try to, like we've talked, I try to keep all my hobbies now, like shoes, jujitsu, disc, the beer, and I go to Burning Man a lot.
Yeah, nice.
I have any other hobbies outside of that. Like that, but seasonal. It's like right now, if I'm skipping class, I'm probably skipping class or a jiu-jitsu class to go play disc golf.
Sure. Okay.
I obviously I can't do that in the winter, and
right. Yeah. I mean, you could, but you freeze your butt off because you're still live in Ohio. So.
So luckily there's some seasonality with my my hobbies.
With your hobbies, yeah.
I got to
switch with it. It's funny too, Chad. We'll have to talk about this. We're going to talk about this on our 100th show, which is coming up. I think jiu-jitsu guys are all in guys when they stay. Because Mike just said, I'm an all-in guy. You said it. I'm like an all-in guy.
Yeah, we're all.
Like,
I mean,
I'm
most
like,
of
this
us
is
are.
most of. Yeah, I think that's a thing. I just kind of Mike, when you said it, like I'm an all-in guy, I was thinking, wait a minute. It's like, yeah, you know what? This is a jiu-jitsu thing, isn't it?
It's gone. I mean, but like, jiu-jitsu people, if I think of all my hobbies, they're all really hard. And I get a lot of enjoyment from that.
Yeah.
Outside of like buying sneakers, which is like an instant enjoyment, disc golf is hard. Making beer is ever. That's actually, I injured my foot in beer. Like I stepped on a glass and cut my foot open.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Also wear shoes when you're making beer. Like,
public service announcement, everybody.
Who would have thought? Boiling hot board. That's hard. Jiu-jitsu is hard.
Sure.
I don't know. I like those things where I just can't get the instant gratification that I almost have to work for it.
Sure.
And jiu-jitsu is one of those things. Like, it's sometimes you don't realize you had a good class until you're on the way home.
Yeah.
And that's me. Like, I don't know. God, I hope I'm not the only person that does this, but even now I go through every single roll and critique my techniques on the way home. Like, I don't care if I won or not. Like, it's not about the submission. You got to, if anyone's listening to that, if you're measuring your success by submitting someone, that's not success. That's
you're looking at jiu-jitsu in all the wrong ways, for sure.
Yeah. It's fun submitting. Don't get me wrong. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for sure. Really enjoy it. But and that's what I like about. So on my drive home, like I'm obsessing over those details, right? And you can do that with disc golf. You can do that with beer because beer science. And when I go out to Burning Man, like Burning Man is really, really hard. You're living in the desert for 2 weeks. Like,
yeah,
it's hard, but you get a lot of that enjoyment after the fact. And when you're thinking about it on like the drive home, like you can actually conceptualize like all that you experience. So those are a lot of my hobbies.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Why don't you do this, man? Tell everyone how to get at you, any information you want to tell our listeners. I always have everything in the show notes. Go ahead when you're ready, Mike.
My Instagram handle. Let me look at it. So Instagram is the brewbear, BREWBER. The Brewbear. It's a nickname somebody gave me at Burning Man because I like to make beer and I'm a teddy bear, but at the same time, it's in a fight. At the Brewbear, I post a lot on Instagram. I think people make fun of me when they post on Facebook because we're old. So I guess Instagram's a cool thing. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
on
with
Instagram, and you guys see me at a tournament, whatever, just like everyone else. Come say hi.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I'm sure we can talk about something. Yeah.
Definitely, dude. Thanks, man, Mike, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it greatly. Thanks, for teaching me about sneakers, man, and stuff. Like, I love that. Like, it's fascinating to me, learning about that kind of stuff. It's like jujitsu for me. Like, I love to learn. I love learning more than I ever did when I was younger. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but it was like, I take the time to read that or understand it or learn it, before when you're like mid-teen, it's like, I could care less. I'm going to do whatever. And now I look back, I'm like, gosh, you're an idiot. You were an idiot. What's wrong with you?
I can't wait to come up and train with y'all. Chad, I'm Cleveland tomorrow for like 5 hours. I was going to text you, but I land in Cleveland at 11 and then my flight home is like 7.
Man. Yeah. So you're hanging out for you're hanging out in the airport.
I'm going straight to my account, working and going right back on the airplane.
Okay.
I'll try I can train with you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. We're having our big cancer awareness seminar in September, our charity seminar.
Yeah.
September. Yep. September 9th this year, we're having Kenny Kim in, and he is actually going to shoot an episode of Matt Made around our seminar. So I don't know if it's like a full episode, what we're doing, but we're going to do some stuff and it's going to be really cool.
That's fun, man. It's got to be it's got to be a wrist lock in there at least once. So.
Oh, at once. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Inevitable. I saw a meme or something is like leg lock, whatever. And I was like, you know what? This wording needs construed to wrist locks. And I have to send this to Chad. And then I forgot to take a snapshot of it. But that's what I was like, it's exactly what it is. And we could have a whole entire show about wrist locks and why they're just as good as any other jiu-jitsu you do.
You're not allowed to kill white belts, but if you wrist like a white belt, like that's absolutely fine.
That's approved. Yes.
I do it many times to slow them down. Like, ow. And they'll look at me like, Dad, like, what was that? I'm like, that's a wrist lock. Now slow down. Like, stop. Like, just dude, chill out. Like, I'm not going to kill you. Okay. Like, so, all right, Mike, you take care, man. God bless you and everything you're doing, brother. And keep up the great work. I look forward to meeting you person to person in the future and getting some rolls in.
Oh man, I appreciate y'all.
Yep.
Thanks,
you too,
brother.
man. All right. We'll see you.